What's up, Ravens fans? It's time for this week's Ravens Mailbag. We know that you guys have plenty of questions, so we'll get right to them. Like, are we going to see more of Jeremy Ross and Chris Givens? Are the Ravens going to be more active in free agency? And Nick even has a knock-knock joke that he wants to get off his chest. We'll get to all of that and more on today's Mailbag.
Our first question comes from Han Nguyen, and Han asks, when will we get our Ravens defense back? Simple as this, when the secondary improves. That has been the Achilles heel of this defense the past couple of years. Last year, the unit ranked 23rd in the NFL. This year is 27th. And what's particularly alarming is that the Ravens took some steps this offseason, pretty aggressive steps to try to improve that unit. You brought in a new starting safety in Kendrick Lewis. You brought in Kyle Arrington. Neither of those guys have really panned out quite yet. I mean, Kyle Arrington was behind Sharice Wright in last week's game in San Francisco, and Sharice Wright came in 4 days earlier. So, I mean, that's not really a great indication on where the Ravens feel about Kyle Arrington right now. Kendrick Lewis, I haven't noticed him around the ball too much. Jimmy Smith, you signed to a long-term contract extension, has been giving up too many big plays. So you look at it across the board, and Ladarius Webb, he's not healthy once again. Wasn't on the field against the 49ers. So you look across the secondary right now, and it's pretty clear those guys just have to step up. That's the bottom line.
The next question comes to us from Twitter. It says, Jeremy Ross and Chris Givens made great catches in that last drive. Can we see more of them? You know what? I wouldn't surprise if you saw a little bit more of Jeremy Ross. Since the Ravens have activated him 2 weeks ago, I've been impressed with him. He's brought a little bit of juice to the kickoff return team, to the punt return team. And when he's gotten his opportunities on offense, I've liked what I saw. You know, last week, him and Chris Givens combined for 5 catches and 52 yards. Compare that to Kamar Aiken and Marlon Brown. They had 4 catches and 31 yards and a lot more time. So now, Kamar Aiken still had that nice catch in the end zone.
Right.
And Marlon Brown
Don't take that away from him.
And he could have had, maybe Marlon Brown would have had it, had Kamar not stolen it from him. So I don't think you're going to see a total change, but I could see the Ravens giving Jeremy Ross a few more opportunities on offense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Our next question comes from D. Marie Barnes, and they ask, why can't we close out a game? To me, it boils down to you need more playmakers to make plays. That's what it takes at the end of these games. Let's go through it. I know this is not comfortable, but let's go through it. Denver, Steve Smith doesn't make the catch in the corner of the end zone. Pass to Crockett Gilmore is either a little short, Crockett doesn't make the catch. Either way you look at it, didn't make the play at the end of the game. Look at Oakland. Defense is hurting at the end of the game. Steve Smith doesn't get his foot down. Will Hill looks like he makes a play on a game-saving interception, but it's called off. Against the Bengals, A.J. Green, a playmaker, out-playmake the Ravens secondary. That lost that game. The 49ers, it really wasn't an issue of closing out games. They just weren't in the game for a lot of it. I mean, they were fighting back. It wasn't a closing out the game kind of situation. Am I leaving one out here?
Yeah,
Cleveland.
Browns, yeah.
Cleveland. Your best offensive playmaker that was still on the field because of all the injuries was Justin Forsett, and he got injured right at the end of the game. So you didn't have him in overtime. You went 3 and out. To me, you got to get plays at the end of games. Even Joe Flacco said that. It takes a little extra to win these games at the end.
You just want to take the rest of these questions.
I'm fired up today.
You're on a roll today. The next question comes from Akeem, and he asked, do you see the Ravens being more aggressive in free agency this offseason? Well, I'm not quite as fired up as Mink, but I'll answer the question for you, Akeem. I don't actually see the Ravens being more aggressive in the offseason. They've built a philosophy here in terms of they want to build their team through the draft. They want to re-sign the players that they had, the foundation players like a Marshall Yanda, who they just extended for the second time. The Ravens are never going to be a team that goes into free agency and says, we're going to pay top dollar for the sexiest wide receiver that comes available. That's just not the way they do business here. So you're going to see guys like Kendrick Lewis and Kyle Arrington. Those are the signings that the Ravens are going to make. They're not going to go out there and throw a ton of money out. And I'll say this, the teams that generally do that, they don't have much success when the regular season rolls around.
All right, Garrett, I'll lighten it up with a little knock-knock joke. You ready for our next one? This one comes from Knock-Knock.
Who's there?
At Owen.
Owen who?
Owen Likely. They've got our next question. What do you feel is the biggest concern that needs to be addressed with the team? Well, I've already harped on it. If it's not clear enough, I'll make it even more clear. It's the secondary. The Ravens have to fix the secondary. Injuries are a problem. Clock management sure as heck is not the biggest problem, as I've seen this week. That's just false. It's the secondary. That needs to be cleaned up. That'll help a lot of different areas with the pass rush, with a lot of different things.
All right, so that's all the time for us this week. And the good news is you don't have to listen to any more knock-knock jokes from this guy. But we appreciate hearing from you guys, so send in those questions every single week. Thanks for watching and have a great day.